Hi, it's Ruth Kudzi, founder of Optimus Coach Academy and Ruth Kudzi Coaching Limited. I am passionate about helping people live the lives they want to live on their terms through supporting people to train and develop as coaches and supporting people in my coaching business to build and grow their businesses. Building your resilience. So resilience is a word that we hear all the time, but what does it actually mean? So let's break it down. I always see resilience as traditionally meaning hardiness. So how long and how far can you go? And I definitely, in my former life as a deputy head teacher, I used to prize myself on being resilient. And what I meant was that I worked late every night. I was always at school. I was always actually on for work, except for the weekends when I completely switched off, probably far too much, and and would have wine and would relax and would not think about work. But during the week, I was on at work, and it was always like, I can do more, I can do more. And because I kept going, and because I very rarely had any time off, I thought I was uber resilient. And I remember this point in time when I thought, wait a second, I think I've got this wrong. And we had just had, if anyone works in education, they'll know this word, we had just had an Ofsted, and that Ofsted had really not been favourable. In fact, it had probably been one of the least favourable Ofsteds on record. And I remember we got the feedback, and then obviously we're all emotional that day, but then I remember the next day, one of my team saying something to me, and I burst out crying. And I think whilst it is absolutely okay to show emotion, I realised that I had absolutely no emotional regulation. I was upset, I was tired, I was not really healthy. I used to, at least twice a week, I used to get McDonald's for my tea, which I used to eat on the train on the way home. I used to have about an hour and a half commute each way. So in the morning, I'd get to work, I'd have a Greg's black coffee and maybe a bacon roll. I would then have McDonald's twice a week. I was not looking after myself. And I realised that actually, if I wanted to be resilient, I needed to take a different stance. And I remember speaking to one of my peers at the time, and I was like, how do you do it? And he talked about boundaries, he talked about listening to his body, he talked about emotions. And that made me go down the route of doing research, which I love doing, and also some self-discovery. And I was like, actually resilience isn't just about hardiness. It's not about who can go the longest. Being resilient isn't being able to be the last man standing. Actually, true resilience is understanding yourself and your body and your emotions so you don't get to be in the position where it's even a decision about the last man standing. And I really think that if we practice emotional resilience, where we learn to listen to what we need, then we are able to, ironically, go longer and build sustainable businesses or sustainable careers and not have that dreaded burnout or those peaks and troughs. And I know for me, in my life, this has really started by listening to my needs. So we are bombarded with information on all social media platforms about the power of consistency. And people say, if you don't show up for yourself, then you're never going to be successful, and you have to get up and go to the gym at 6 a.m. every day, otherwise you won't be successful. And for many years, getting up and going to the gym at 6 a.m. really worked for me. And then during COVID, I started to struggle. And I remember speaking to a trainer I was working with at that moment, and I said, I can't do these early mornings. I'm really finding it difficult. And he said to me, your body knows best. And I just remember that. It wasn't that I wasn't going to make that commitment to exercising, but actually something in me, my physiology, what I needed more sleep. I needed more rest. And actually, if I had continued to get up early, I probably would have made myself ill. So the reason I'm sharing this is because listening to ourselves is at the centre of building resilience. So what do we need in this moment? And yes, of course, what I'm not saying is don't go to the gym, don't work out, don't do these things. What I am saying is listen to what you need. Because sometimes it might be that instead of going to that high intensity gym class or doing that weight session, actually maybe you feel a bit sore or maybe you feel a bit fatigued. So you do something different. Maybe you go swimming, maybe you go to the spa, maybe you go for a walk, whatever that may be. I'm using exercise because it's a really easy one to do. And it's not only about exercise, it's about tapping into what you need. So each day, what do I need right now? One of the reasons I love working from home is that often I'll be like, actually, I really need to relax. Where do I relax? I go for a walk, I have a bath, I go to the spa. Those are kind of my real, really easy tick-offs. And I know that they work because they help calm my parasympathetic nervous system. They help reduce my stress levels, which means that I can think more clearly, which means that I feel more relaxed. And obviously, that helps you be more resilient. Because if you are having heightened cortisol or chronic levels of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, over a period of time, that massively depletes your resilience. And it does it in a number of ways. First of all, it impacts your immune functioning. So when you are feeling like not yourself and not 100% and maybe you're pushing it, that's why you get ill. That's why you get colds. That's why you pick things up. It's a sign from your body to slow down. So your immune functioning is impacted. Equally, your executive functioning, all of those things that make us humans, your decision making, your problem solving, your thinking, your focus, all of those are impacted. So a really key way to increase your resilience every day is to go, okay, so how am I feeling in terms of my stress levels? What can I do to reduce my stress? Because if I'm able to reduce my stress, I'm able to increase my resilience. So that might be actively doing something to reduce those levels, or it might be doing less. And this is the other thing. So I'm seeing more and more people talking about this. And I'm definitely modelling it. And I'm seeing it more in my friendship group. That there used to be, before COVID, this idea that if you didn't show up to something, you were flaky. And therefore, you had to always show up. And I think that now people are like, actually, I love you, but right now, I need to have an early night. Or right now, I need to do something different. And I know that I've done this a couple of times with people that I'm really close to and said, actually, I can't come to this tonight because I'm feeling quite tired and I know that I need to look after myself. Let's do this instead. So, people... that is looking after your emotional and physical well-being, which will build your resilience long term. So, an even better way is to look at your commitments before and make sure that you haven't overloaded yourself. But we live in an imperfect world and we don't necessarily know what the week is going to throw at us. So really being aware of your moods, your emotions, your body, and what it is telling you. Looking at the triggers, and so identifying when the trigger is happening and trying to reduce that impact. Taking it easy on yourself. When you're feeling that you're getting into that stretch mode, maybe it's about taking a step back. So all of these things will help you build your resilience. One of my favourite exercises, an exercise that I do, definitely in the last 2 years, probably every day, is from Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he calls it circles of control and influence. This is a really simple way to do it. Write 2 lists. One list, what can I control? One list, what can't I control? That maybe I'm thinking about or worrying about. As someone who has got decades of experience of having anxious thoughts, this is amazing. Because you get this out, write it down. Okay, what can I control? I can control what I eat. I can control what I read. I can control what I do to some extent. I mean, I run my business. I can control that. I can control who I spend time with. I can control what time I go to bed. I can control what time I wake up. You know, you can really get that granular. What can't I control? Well, I can't control if somebody likes me or not. Of course, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be an idiot. I'm going to be rude to people. But I can't control that. I can't control if someone listening to this podcast really doesn't like me. I can't control, I can't control what is going on in the world. I can't. So then you start to lead that separation. And if you want to build your resilience, focus on what you can control first. And the way he does this actually is with 3 circles. In the middle, what you can control. Then you have what you can influence, and the outside, what you can't control. So what can you influence? Well, I can influence my business's success by hiring great people. I can influence my business's success by making sure that we deliver for clients. I can influence my business's success by putting out offers to people. You know, all of those things I can do, but I can't control. So what can I go to that I can control that will help me influence an outcome that I want? And that's a great way of looking at building resilience. So tapping into your emotions, tapping into your body, tapping into what you need in that moment and in that day. Being able to stop and giving yourself space. You know, so many times we think, and that actually sometimes means that you do move the goalposts, because you don't need to. You know, maybe if that goal is going to be achieved in 2 months, not 1 month, that will mean that you do it in a way that feels better for you. The way you still feel energized, where you still feel excited, but you have space. And in reality, if we zoom out and look at that in perspective, it doesn't really matter. And then looking at what we can and we can't control. As always, it is about our own awareness. We can only change what we're aware of. So start to recognise what your signs are when you're not feeling resilient, and that's probably when you're going to be stressed. How do you respond? Do you go internal? Do you start snapping at people? Are you really short with people? And look at how you can reduce those stress levels. The more that you fill up your resilience bucket, the more that you can deal with whatever life throws at you. And I know, and I always have this joke with my team, like, there's a lesson, there's learning. And sometimes I'm like, I have had a lot of learning today. Like, I really would like today not to be such an intense learning experience. But I do so with a sense of humour, because I know that every single thing that we learn, even when it's really hard, that will be valuable for us in the future. And I have not got that big an ego to know that I get things wrong again and again and again. But if I can learn even a tiny thing from those things, that will help me build my resilience. So I think there's part of the resilience piece that is around your ego and your identity. Realising that you're not meant to do everything on your own, and that you don't have to be perfect. And understanding that asking for help and asking for support is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. So I really hope this has helped you. If you want to learn more about personal development, building your resilience, self-coaching, come and check out our new personal development hub in the show notes. And if you're thinking, I'd love to work with people on this, I want to know more about coaching, check out the show notes for our new quiz that will tell you if you are destined to be a coach or not, or come and check out Optimus Coach Academy. If you are thinking that you might want to become a coach, check out our quiz and it will tell you if you've got the qualities to be a great coach. Have a look in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, I'd like you to like and subscribe. And remember to keep abreast of all of our new videos. Just ring that bell and you'll be notified when any new ones come out. And we'd love to hear feedback from you. So if you'd like to post beneath your biggest takeaway, and equally anything that you'd like to hear me talk about, we're always open to feedback.